Welcome back. You're listening to the David Madeira Show on 94.3 FM, The Talker. On the good side, we have good people who are stepping up to the plate, whose souls have not been corroded by the growth of government, who have maintained their independence. And our next guest is one of those people. Mike, are you there?
I am here, David.
Thanks. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for being on the show. Folks, this is Mike Lacey, and Mike is running for Luzerne County Council. Now, you all know I maintain my independence because I'm here to be a voice for the people. I'm here to try to give you insight, and so I don't endorse candidates. Sometimes that's easy not to do. Sometimes I'm glad for that, but sometimes it bothers me, and this is one of those times because Mike is an incredible guy. Not only was he the first person and very supportive when I ran for U.S. Congress, but I have gotten to know Mike over the last couple of years, and I have just been impressed with Mike's willingness to learn and his defense of liberty. And so I've asked Mike to come on the show, and I invite all candidates, anybody who wants to, send me an email at david@davidmadeirashow.com, and we'll try to get you on. But I asked Mike to come on because I want him to tell you a little bit about his background and why he decided to run. He's taken an unusual path to run for Luzerne County Council. And I wanted him to tell us a little bit about that and about why he's running and what he plans to do. So, Mike, with that long, drawn-out introduction, I welcome you to the show.
Well, David, thank you very much. I just want to tell you that it's really special in my heart. It's an honor to be on your show, and certainly look forward to hearing it every morning. It's inspiring and informational, and I appreciate that.
Well, thanks. So tell us how you came to be on the ballot, because you did not run in the primary, right?
I did not run in the primary, David. How I became on the ballot, and certainly being informed, or best as informed as we can, we're always looking for those candidates that hold our values dear. And in this particular situation, there was a trio of individuals running for the council, which were under the Libertarian Party. And a very nice, wonderful woman by the name of Betsy Summers chose to drop out of that race to run for or against the current Wilkes-Barre mayor of Wilkes-Barre, to run in that particular race. So I was asked by some folks who had the confidence and we the same beliefs to step into Betsy's place. Now, probably a little bit unusual. It's we're looking to see throughout the nation if it was the first time where a Republican, I am a registered Republican, has actually teamed up with some libertarians, which we haven't been able to find that. But that's the history of how I got involved in this race, where I did not have to go through the primary. One of the concerns was, changing parties, and I certainly have my allegiance to not necessarily GOP, but what the GOP stood for.
Right, the principles, right, their platform.
The principles, right. So one of the interesting parts, David, is that right out of the box, I said, look, this needs to be a race based on principle, not party. Mm-hmm. Because this is where I think in America that we've got very confused on which is which. Mm. And what I'm finding, David, and I could be wrong, but I'm looking at that, this might be a movement in America at all levels. Because people, to me, as I get out there and talk to folks, is that they're not asking, what is your party? They're asking, what do you stand for? Right. And one of the things I know, David, that you have felt that, and I know that a lot of other folks out there are feeling, as I am, the burden to get out there and make something happen for the positive.
Mike, you know that I'm a political consultant on the side, and that I've done a lot of consulting, and in years past, in times past, I would have just laughed at someone like yourself who decided as a Republican to run as an independent or libertarian, because without the party structure behind you, it is not possible to win until now. And what we're seeing, whether it's Nevada or New York 9 or Scott Brown, what we're seeing over the last several years is a dramatic shift in the willingness of the American people to look at the person, the man or woman who's running, first and foremost, and then secondarily to consider party. I'm not suggesting that there's going to be a huge slew of libertarians who are going to win or independents who are going to win. But I do believe in key races where, especially local races, there is an opportunity for people to run regardless of party, but to run on principle. And so, Mike, I wanted to ask you, because you just told us the how you got there. Tell us the why. Why did you accept this invitation? What is it about the county council or about this opportunity that struck you and said, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice my time and energy. I'm going to run. I'm going to try to get out there and meet people and ask people to vote for me. What was that?
Well, David, and those are things, when you look at the time and you look at all the challenges of life, it doesn't make any sense because at all. And you've been down that road.
I've been crazy several times. That's why I'm in therapy.
Yes, you have, right. There you go. But when I look at particularly our county and those out there, and you look at, I'm going to give you a couple examples, David. Things, first of all, it always goes back to our children and grandchildren. What are we leaving them? And I want them to be able to look at say, that's my dad who stuck it out there. And he stuck it out there and took the risk because he cared about the future for us. And second of all, David, through my experiences, and I am a small business owner and also have a farm, and one of the very interesting things I found within Luzerne County is the opportunities that have been lost because of our corruption. And I want to give you an example of that. I met a gentleman here who owned a farm, and they were running some potential gas lines through the property. Mm-hmm. It never worked out. But that gentleman had to contact Luzerne County because some of those lines were potentially going through. He was told by his office not to contact them, that the attorneys at that level would contact our county officials because they were considered the most corrupt county in our nation. Isn't that a surprise?
This is what the gas company said.
Yes, the pipeline company. Now, here's where it draws the line. Is how many other companies, David, out there have wanted to come into an area similar to Luzerne County, which we know that the work ethic is good, the environment is good, but have walked away from it because of the fact that the pay-to-play is the key role in Luzerne County. Mm. So, yes, and as we look at that, you see people that are looking, and then as I go into the courthouse, David, for reasons, several reasons over the last couple of years, all honorable, by the way, but I saw a huge apathy when I would walk in there, David. I have a retail pharmacy, and I have to.
And a dog, apparently, too.
And a dog, apparently, too. Exactly. And that's my alarm going off. And what's really, really interesting is that I saw people with that hope out of their eyes. That, almost like, here I am. I'm stuck in this job where I can't make a difference, and I can't say anything for fear of retribution. And I look at that and say, my goodness. And I believe that the folks, we always want to pick on the employees of the county. I believe it's the leadership of the county, David, because as I do in my own business, I look at the folks I work with because I don't have all the answers, David, but they can add so much to it. And I feel that that's just one little thing that those voices are not being heard, which alone could be huge answers to our questions. So those are a lot of things where I'm saying, I'm looking at even our country as a whole, David, so many things that have been lost. Our forefathers, you'll see in all their writings where they're talking about our Creator and our divine providence, when they're talking about people, men of virtue, public virtue. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? That simply means that they're putting everything on the side, not for self-interest, but for the interest of their country. You take Thomas Jefferson, for example, lost both his wife and his child. There's and the name escapes me, but there was a gentleman who basically funded the war, who ended up in debtor's prison for almost his entire life.
Robert Morris? Is that Robert Morris?
That's it, David. Thank you. And so these are the type of men and women that we need in leadership today. And when I look at the type of leadership, David, just that I think in order to change our country, that it has to start at the local level.
Mike, I couldn't agree with you more. I absolutely think, and I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to keep saying it, it's these local races that really matter because they serve both as the base of power to return power to the people, because that's where it ought to be. Most of the power ought to be at the county level. And then they also serve as the launching pad. And so I'm really glad that you're running. And by the way, I'm wowed by you, the way you're articulating this. So here's the next question I have for you, Mike. What are you going to do when you get there?
That's one of the interesting things, and I think we have to take a look at a lot of different things. One is we have to take a look at that budget, David, and we have to see exactly where things are being spent and how they're being spent. Once again, my experience as a small business owner, what do you have to do to survive as a small business owner? You have to know how to meet payroll. You have to know how to meet budgets. You have to know how to be creative to make things work, and not just as an individual, but as taking those people. And David, we don't know everything. So, I always say there's a motto a friend told me once. He said, you need to get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus.
Well, that brings me to my next question, Mike, and that is, one of your first jobs is going to be to pick an executive. What are the criteria you're going to be looking for there?
I'm looking at a criteria, David. What I would like to see is certainly someone who has a record of some type of not corporate level, but business level, where they've had experience that have been able to take, an individual who's demonstrated that they can run a business, whether it's corporate level, or government level, or small business level. Also, what is even more important to me, David, is that character. When that person looks me in the eye and I can look them in the eye, and they are here with the same principles that I'm following, and that's that you are here certainly, to create a job for themselves, but really the real reason is to make a positive difference. To be able to say, look, this is such a challenge. We have a county that is in such a mess that I want to be part of the solution. I want to be solve the problem to make this county a beacon. Wouldn't it be awesome, David, to be able to say, look, here's Luzerne County, one of the most corrupt counties in the nation, that we can turn it around and show the rest of the nation that it can be done. It can be done, and we can be the light for the nation. Say, look, if we do things that are principled, that are godly, we can do what is right for the people, and the people will respond to that. And I just really know, as I look, David, through different people just in this, and realize that I'm only 60 days out when I was asked to run, but I'm already starting to get people from all parties. Some that are Democrats, some that are independents, some that are Republican, GOP, saying, you know what, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for principles. We're not looking for the party. And I really, truly, as I mentioned earlier, David, that I think this is the beginning of a movement in this nation, that we're going to look at the person and we don't care what party you're standing for.
Michael, if and folks, you're listening to Mike Lacey. He's running, he is a Republican who is running as a Libertarian for Luzerne County Council. Mike, where can people go to find out more about your candidacy, sign up for your newsletters, find out how to get involved?
Well, we've got a website. It's Vote Mike Lacey. That's LACEY.com. We have got some information up there, and again, just starting out. We're developing that website as we go. There's also should be a Facebook attached to that also. There's also a phone number attached to on that website also. So we are appreciating any involvement people would like to get into. We'd like to excite everybody in the fact that you can be a real part of this and a real part in positive change in Luzerne County.
Sounds great, Mike. Thanks, and thanks to your lovely bride and your kids for putting you up to this and putting up with you for doing this. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Great. Thank you, David, and say hi to your family.
All right, will do. Folks, that was Mike Lacey. He's running for Luzerne County Council, and I have to tell you, a man of real character and, frankly, impressive articulation as well. So get over there to votemikelacy.com. Check it out. If you like what he has to say, get behind him. But certainly get involved in this race in whatever capacity you can if you're in Luzerne County, because we need to engage at the local level. We cannot just look at the national and think we're going to solve all the problems there. It's going to take race by race, county by county, township by township. In every position, we've got to put good people who understand America's founding principles and respect liberty.